Anyway, what we got next?
Dwayne Wade,
Yes.
formerly of the Miami Heat, an illustrious career, a couple of championships there. They call it Wade County after him. He is, despite the fact that he's originally from the Chicago area, he is essentially the man for Miami. Really put that franchise on its back, did a lot of amazing things there. And so as a way to acknowledge what he did for that franchise, the Miami Heat did what many franchises do when a great player from their franchise retires. They erect a statue. Seems normal. Seems about what they should do.
Yeah. Right.
However, the only thing is there was a ton of blowback, and people clowned it because the statue that was unveiled looked like Dwayne Wade, I don't know, in his 90s or something like that.
Okay.
It was not a very good likeness, and it looked far more mature. So the internet had a great time with this, taking the photo of it and superimposing that head on any number of things, and it just looked absolutely funny. I'm always amazed at how creative some folks can be. When it comes to
the internet is great.
Yeah,
never loses.
Yeah. Now, Dwayne Wade came out and was defending it. Although, when you see the clips originally, I think there was a little bit of like, what the what? Like when he saw it, but I think he's trying to recover from it, or trying to fix his initial reaction. I'm not even sure what the sculptor was thinking, or who commissioned this. How do they want their money back? Because personally, I think you could have got a schoolroom full of kindergarten kids with some Play-Doh and could have sculpted something a bit better.
Okay.
Don't know if you saw it, but here's my question, man. When you get that kind of blowback for something, right? And as my grandmother would often say, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, right?
Okay.
You might have decided that you wanted to do something good, but it didn't work out that way. Do you think they should remove that statue, redo it to something to where everyone, including Dwayne Wade, feels like it better resembles him? Or if you're the organization, do you turn around and say, listen, we don't have to do none of this shit, and be grateful that we even have that up there and be done with it?
So your question to me is, what do you think the organization should do?
Yeah, with the organization, but assume that you are you're king for a day and you run that organization.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just leaving it.
You're leaving it.
I'm leaving, because then what are they supposed to do? Okay, you have two scenarios. You know, if Dwayne himself is giving all this blowback that he doesn't like it or whatever, which he's not going to do, but let's just say he did. Oh, please remove it, da-da-da-da. Would I remove it then? Yeah, I guess so. But if you're saying that, please remove it, I don't like it, please have them do it again. Please put another statue out there that replicates me in a better light, right? Please do that. Well, first of all, the organization is never going to do that, because the organization paid this man, this artist, I'm sure thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars to create this statue, right? So the organization, if they asked him to take it down, remove it or whatever, they're going to lose a shitload of money just to be asked to put up another one where they'd have to pay more money for this artist to create a new one, or go to a new artist to create a new statue. They are never, ever going to do that. Unless there's been situations where, like my team, when they were called the Washington Redskins and one of my players, Sean Taylor, died of a gunshot wound, they put up this statue in their stadium, and people really didn't like it. And I think in that situation, they removed it, and I think they was putting up a better one. But that was a different situation, because the guy died and the family was maybe the family was complaining or whatever, so they may want to do it. In this case scenario, it's a statue. It didn't look like the guy. It looked like he was 80 years old. He looked a little bit older, whatever. What's the big effing deal? Just be happy that you're honored, that they even gave you a statue in the first place. You know, there was artists who did work of Michelle Obama's painting. Barack's looked good. Michelle's didn't look that great. You know, it wasn't a big complaint or whatever. They just accepted and loved it, and they was just honored anyway. I don't think this is a big deal. It's not a big story to me. Just accept it. Accept the fact that everyone loved you there in Miami and they gave you a statue in the first place. I don't think there's any hoopla. And to your point, you said Dwayne didn't make a big deal of it anyway. He's just accepted it and just moved on.
So I disagree with you. So one, so first, you brought up one of the things, you brought up the money and spending. Listen, you got players making $300 million contracts now, so I don't think commissioning another statue is going to set the franchise back. The other thing is, I think it's a franchise, right? You tried something, you had this big reveal, it didn't work. It didn't work. It didn't go over. It's not a good looking statue. And so I think as an organization, there's nothing wrong with saying, you know what, brought the ball on this. We're going to commission another one and not be lampooned about this. We don't want this falling back on Dwayne. We don't want this falling back on our organization. So let's just change it. It is universally viewed as something worth pointing and mocking. So why stay with it? It to me, that's a simple fix. Not unlike what you said with Sean Taylor, different circumstances, but listen, man, it's some concrete, it's some steel or whatever other, minerals and masonry products and so on. Just change it. And I think also you let Dwayne off the hook. Dwayne he's not going to say anything, and nor should he. But I wouldn't, if I'm the organization, I wouldn't use that as a reason for me not to do it and to remain silent. It's like, well, Dwayne hasn't said anything, right? Like, well, what is he supposed to say? Anything he says, he's going to come across as incredibly ungrateful, and he shouldn't say anything. But someone, there has to be an adult in the room, and someone has to turn to somebody else and say, look, listen, Pat Riley is a part owner, and Pat was a player once, and so. Listen, why don't Pat say, listen, guys, we need to do something about this. This doesn't look right. It doesn't look like him. And here's the thing. I want to know, I have to believe that, like, listen, if we got a set of business cards, they're going to give us an opportunity to look at a proof that we have to approve before we go into production.
That is true.
Right? Did somebody show, you know what I mean? Did somebody show them, hey, this is what's going to look like? And then somebody said, yep, that's the look we were looking for.
I was about to ask that question because what technology did this person use to cast that statue? Because you can now just take a picture and have it printed out and it's the likeness of the person. Right. I don't understand what happened.
Doc, maybe he want to keep it real and authentic. So he's out there with a hammer and a chisel.
Maybe it was abstract art.
Like doing it like the Flintstones or something like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like did the artist go into the quantum realm, into the future to see what Dwayne Wade was going to look like and then come back and make like the statue? Like I don't even know what this is. And to me, it's just a bad look. The Hall of Fame for football, they do the bus. Those things are incredibly accurate. Incredibly accurate. Who's that guy? What's he doing? Can we hire him? Like I said, you could have got some kids real good with Play-Doh. Motherfuckers building sandcastles look like Star Rat City or something like that. What was one of them? You couldn't find a beachgoer? I mean, anyone other. You couldn't get J and K to make a mess? To me, that's a no-brainer, man. Like, yo, pull the thing up out of the ground. Say, hey, you know what? Put your PR people to work. Do a statement. Say we're going to do it right. You would get far more good press, high praise if you did that. But don't be tone deaf. Don't be like the monkey with the this and the this and all that other shit. Change the thing. Do the right thing for your boy Wade.
I think that's it's pretty ungrateful to the hard work that the artist put in. He was hired for a job. They actually hired him. Yeah, it's ungrateful for the effort.
I'm pretty sure they paid him.
I know they paid him. Okay. And it's ungrateful that even that they hired him for a reason. Clearly they seen his work, and to you guys' point, Doc, you're saying, and it's true, clearly they had to see some print work before, and they had to give it the okay.
You would hope.
So, right. So I would hope. So clearly, they gave him the go ahead. He finished the work, and it's almost like, regardless of whether you get paid for doing your job. Doc does, I do, we all do. How many times have you been on your jobs and you did a great job, or so you thought, a great job on whatever project you were working on, just for your boss to come in and say, I don't like that, we're not using it at all, and you spent all weekend working on this project, busting your ass, missed time with your lady, missed time with your family, and you busted your ass and you did this. Yeah, you got paid, but they said, oh, we're just going to scrap it. Do you know how that would, because I'm sure it had to have happened to you at some point in your career. We all know that we put in so much work into something for someone just to say, you know what, we don't like it, that's crap, we're getting rid of it. You feel like shit. It's almost insulting, whether they paid me or not. Whether they paid me or not, it's wrong.
He's a service provider.
I'm just saying, it's just wrong.
He's a service provider.
Right.
He's in the business. He's selling.
Well, I'm asking you something. Would you feel bad as that artist who put in your sweat, tears, regardless of whether you got paid or not?
No.
That's bullshit.
No.
Yeah.
It ain't. It's not bullshit. I am a service provider. Customer satisfaction. I'm not in that role, in that place. I'm not thinking about myself. Now I may be like, God damn it, I wish I had said something sooner. But that's a part of it. If a customer's not fully satisfied, and in this case, part of that customer experience is Dwayne Wade, right? This company paid for it, but they did it on behalf of Dwayne. And so if their customer is not happy, there's nothing wrong with going back to the vendor. In particular, if you plan to pay for it again, you go back and say, hey,
if they came back and asked you to do it again, you would do it again.
Absolutely, I would do it. Absolutely. If you were in a customer-facing role, you do what is asked of you.
No,
if you don't
no,
want,
no,
if you, hold on.
When I say redo it, you didn't do it. No, they say you didn't do it right in the first place.
It doesn't. No.
So they're not giving you any more money.
No. Listen, the reasons are their own. It's not up to you to start determining why they should be satisfied or not satisfied.
I get it.
They should be able to at least provide information as to why, so that you have direction in terms of what you need to do.
Right, I understand it. But what if they said, we need you to do it again? We already paid you. We don't like that job, but you need to do it again. No more money because we didn't like the job. Would you do it again?
If those were the terms of me doing it, right? If it's guaranteed satisfaction, right?
All right.
If they're not satisfied with it, then those were the terms of it. Or go back. Like we have vendor relationships like that now. They're like, listen, you know what I mean?
Do we know, like, I don't know all the details of this particular story or what their deal was. Did they pay him to get it right however many times you do this statute?
I don't know that.
Right. So I don't know I don't know how in average these situations would work. I would imagine that it would be something paid until you get it right. I'm assuming. I don't think they would pay him any extra money.
I don't know. I can't speak to that.
Yeah.
All I know is even if, to my point, even if you have to pay again to have it redone, listen, like I said,
well, I wouldn't pay again if
they're
I'm the
giving
business.
$300 million contracts to players. I think they can spend a couple of bucks on a statue.
They're not going to do that on a statue. They're going to save that money for a new player.
Right.
They're not going to do that on a statue.
Yo, you were on a roll with saying outlandish bullshit.
No,
man.
I'm saying they're not going to spend that money on a statue.
Just outlandish bullshit.
No, I'm telling you.
What the fuck does a statue have to do with? Oh God, I can't with you.
So let me ask you something. You would spend an X amount of other extra millions of dollars on redoing a statue versus saving that money and spending it on 2 new draft picks, or something like that. I don't know. What would you do?
I don't have time to explain how collective bargaining works.
No, please explain it. I don't need to explain it. I'm just asking your opinion on what.
But if you knew how that worked,
what would you do? I'm just asking what would you do?
If you knew at work, then we would know how outlandish that question.
But it doesn't matter.
One has nothing to do with the other.
But I'm asking you a question, and you're not answering it.
You're asking a question that has nothing to do with anything, though. It's like asking me why the moon is made of like blue cheese or some shit. It's not. Like, how do I even answer that? It has nothing.
It's very easy.
It's
a very easy answer.
It's not applicable. It doesn't matter. It does.
You're saying they have all this money.
You're asking a question. You're asking a question about paying a player or about money from a play. Like, it has nothing to do with that, bro. It just doesn't. It's like I can't even fucking answer that.
You should be able to answer it. It's a very easy question.
Well, for what?
It's
follow that question up with about like like fairy tales or something like that.
No.
You're gonna start making shit up?
No. What I'm saying is, you made this statue and just leave it. There's no need to take it down.
I think that's what we're debating. And I think that there is a reason to take it down. It doesn't look like him. It doesn't look good. If there was ever a reason to take it down, Jay, that's the reason. It looks hideous. Everyone's lampooning this thing. The person that it was done for, despite his statement that he came out with supporting it, his initial reaction, and everyone's like, "Yo, what the hell?" Right?
Say what you mean.
So it would be nice that the franchise, which I believe intended to really do something right,
okay,
if they fell short of it. So do the right thing, man, and change that thing out.
If Dwayne says something, then fine, I'll rock with it. If he doesn't, I'm leaving it.
No, I think Dwayne's backed into a corner.
No, listen, he's an adult.
He's back.
He's an adult. You can speak up.
Can't do that.
Come on, the cat don't have your tongue.
He would really come across as ungrateful, right? It's like mocking. Somebody gives you a gift from the bottom of their heart.
There's a way to say things.
And you don't want it. You start mocking it.
No.
Even though it's like, the little kid comes up to you, your child draws a picture in school and says, "Hey," and they give it to you. You're like, "That doesn't look like me. I'm not hanging this on the fridge." Like, Doc, Doc, that's what he would do.
If I'm D Wade, you're changing that statue.
Thank you. Right. And so
that thing is going to stay there for decades upon decades upon decades, and people are going to come 30 years from now and be like, "Who is that?"
Right.
They're going to look up D Wade on the internet and see his face.
Right.
Well, it will look like him in 30 years.
And Doc, let me. Yes, right.
Right. So
copy
that's
that.
fine.
And Doc, let me ask you: you think the franchise on its own should do that based off the blowback?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
It shouldn't take Dwayne Wade to say. You see,
I'm like, who? I'm lost for words. Who let that happen?
Yeah,
like, in the franchise, like, are they still working for them?
I know. And we may never find out, like, get to the bottom of it. But one thing we do know, looking at the end result, it's wrong. It's a bad decision. There's no reason to live with the bad. We know it's wrong. Don't live with the bad decision.
That's an individual taste thing.
You can stop.
That's an individual taste thing.
Well, listen. There are tons of people, millions of people are lampooning it now. So,
and there may be lots of people who like it.
That very well, maybe.
So maybe, I guess what's fair is maybe they can do some kind of vote. And decide, hey, who wants to keep, who wants to remove, and maybe settle it that way.
Well, let me tell you, the ones that like it are certainly sure as hell silent, because it's, where are they saying don't do it? The only ones that's really coming out and saying it was the guy that created it, and I think we know why he's speaking up. But anyway, man,
we will see. We'll see what happens in that case. I hope it stays.